Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Pretty much all the leaks we have seen come out about Modern Warfare 3 over the last few days were confirmed last night by Cellium Games, but a few additional things to throw into the mix as well. A brand new movement mechanic they're bringing in for this new title that some people believe that Shotzzy and Cellium especially might have a rather good time exploiting. Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Here is, I think we might have already got the annual attached tweet about MWIII being great. But he's officially confirming it's going to be the best con of all time. Maybe this time. Okay, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. We're not going to even try to bother with that one. But yeah, as Call of Duty say, the official reveal was kind of yesterday. Iconic multiplayer maps. They do like a trailer. You don't see anything in the trailer. There's going to be a story that continues, I think, even beyond this title. What I'm really interested in, though, of course, is what's going to go on the multiplayer side. And there was also another leak around this, which was reality try kind of translate. If you guys couldn't translate this yourself, which I'm pretty sure you should be able to, is ghost perk when you're running, tick, ghost perk when you're camping, cross. Now, this was a key kind of complaint that was had. I remember there was a talking point back in 2011 when I just started playing cards in Black Ops 1. Okay, it came out in 2010, and the ghost perk in that game would make you invisible to spy planes, as it was back then, of course, all the time. Now, for Black Ops 2, Trek decided, you know what, campers can get lost, right? You know, they'd much prefer if you're camping with Ghost on, you still get exposed. That was like the developers back then, right? They really had a good mindset around the way that they wanted Call of Duty to be played, but over the coming years, Infinity Ward and others changed their minds. But Black Ops 2 Ghost Perk, you had to be at least moving, at least walking would be enough, or like if you were aiming down sight to a stock, that would be enough, and kind of strafing around a corner, that would keep you off the minimap with a UAV. And obviously we're not seeing UAVs in competitive, but it just kind of shows the intention of the developers if they're bringing that back. Because the last couple of titles, you put Ghost Perk or whatever it is that hides you from the radar, the UAVs and stuff, and you'd always be invisible, whereas it seems like they're bringing it back so it only works if you're moving, which just promotes the right, as far as I'm concerned, style of play that Infinity Ward have definitely got against over the last couple of years. I think that's definitely a good sign. Now, the other big talking point has been, what about the maps? Because we know that we're getting the Modern Warfare 2 maps from 2009, all remastered and brought back for the new title. And Tom Henderson said yesterday that those will be the only maps we get on launch, which is definitely not optimal, I would say. At the end of the day, though, can we really expect the developers to put in more than 16 maps? Like, I don't know if we've ever had a game that's launched with more maps than that, and maybe we have back in the day, but 16 always used to kind of seem like the upper limit in some respects for how many maps you would actually get on release, so I don't know if they're going to do like 20. I think there are some like ground war maps and stuff like that they are bringing, and maybe there are smaller versions of those maps that might also be viable. JKL does say, though, this might not fully be true, and it still could change over time. I did see this bit of copy, though, yesterday that said all 16 launch maps in the original MW2 2009 have been modernized with new modes and gameplay features. Modernized does scare me a little bit, just because it sounds like, oh, we're putting doors on them. I don't think they will, but we'll see. Like, I've got faith that Sledgehammer have the right idea here, but we'll see. And will be available at launch to get everyone started, while over 12 all-new Core 6v6 maps will fuel post-launch live seasons. So it kind of sounds like 16 maps on release, only MW2 throwback maps effectively, and then in the game, as the game progresses, then they add new core 6v6 maps. So that's what it currently says. They could change their minds, they could release some additional ones early when the game launches. They could even bring back some MW2 maps from last year. Like, I wouldn't mind if Hotel launches with the game, just so we've got another map that we know might play alright. I know that many have said, oh, well, these MW2 maps aren't going to play well, because most of those maps, of course, in MW2 originally, 2009, didn't play well at all for competitive. There was some, okay, Terminal, Karachi, Invasion, Scrapyard, High Rise, right? These kind of maps were considered to be potentially viable, and they were at the time. But the new games, it's like what we talked about with Shotzzy in Nuketown the other day. Nuketown Black Ops 1, I know if you guys made this comment in the comments of that video, that back in the Black Ops 1 days, you didn't have unlimited sprints. You couldn't move quite as fast as you did in recent titles. I think that's why the Nuketowns in recent games haven't felt as good as the originals. It's because the map just seems so small when it takes you no time at all to get across the map. Now, if we're playing all those old school maps with you know, faster movement speed and slide cancelling and everything, then that might potentially cause further issues, right? So, and the maps won't play as well as they did before. There might be some reasons to believe that won't be so much of an issue, because if dead silence is a necessity in the game, and it is on, you basically chuck on a different pair of boots that makes you silence, that probably means you can't run the boots that make you go faster. So, and also we know that, as we'll see in a second, slide cancelling doesn't reset your tac sprint. So you're probably moving at a slightly more reasonable pace, and a pace that's probably somewhat more similar to the way you'd move around the map back in the day. But the argument has been that, well, you know, Scrapyard, let's say, kind of a small map, 4v4 hardpoint on that might just be too much with the way that COD is currently played, with slide cancelling, with faster movements compared to what it was back in the day. That's the concern, and as Zero says, and I think understandably, that, you know, come on, like, put some more maps in the game. But still, 16, I guess we'll have to take it. So this is how it starts. 16 MWII 2009 maps, all bringing them back. 4 ground war maps as well. This war mode that's been discussed. Map voting, I know there was some talk from Aches on the flank about this last night, that it might not be you get to choose between 2 maps. It's kind of like you get to choose if you want to skip this one and play a random one. So it might not be as good as we thought, but still better than nothing, I guess. Classic minimap is back. 150 health is officially confirmed. As I said yesterday, you know, the health is always tied to the damage of the weapon, so 150 health doesn't necessarily mean anything crazy if the guns do a bit more damage, but it should be closer in TTK to Cold War, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a positive. I don't mind a very fast time to kill, because let's say Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, even Black Ops 3, you could die really fast. 1 burst of an M8, 3 shots from a Man of War, you know, 4 shots from an HVK, stuff like this. The VMP shot fast and kill you really quickly up close as well. But it was difficult to shoot in those games. Back then, especially games like Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and even Black Ops 3, because there was jetpacks, you're flying around, the aim assist wasn't as strong. Actually, hitting shots wasn't so easy as it is nowadays. So I think that's the main issue, right? Black Ops 2, the time to kill is not actually dissimilar from an MSMC as it has been for, let's say, you know, a Vaznev in the most recent game. But it's just the way the game is played, just in the aim assist dynamic and stuff, is just way better nowadays. So I do think you've got to compensate for the stronger aim assist that we have in modern CODs, and okay, maybe they could make it weaker, right? And that would be, I think, a positive. But if they don't do that, I think you need to compensate with some extra health, and that seems to be what they're doing. So we've got the movement changes as well. There's more to this that we'll get into in a second. They are changing a few things about the game, right? I mean, every year the developers will come along about some new ideas. This whole gear perk system, so you put on some gloves or some boots or, you know, a helmet or whatever, and that gives you your perks. You know, that's fine. I don't really care. They're going to add something new as long as the perks actually activate for the start of the game. And it's just hilarious to think that basically all of the marketing tools for this game are, this is not an Infinity Ward game. We're changing everything they did wrong, and we're bringing it back to what you want it to be. And it does feel like Infinity War would just try to kill this game, right? Because you look at this, as Octane says, it's unbelievable how different things are when we change developers each year. And it's good, right? I think. And as Panda says, they just wanted us gone. It does kind of seem that way the more you think about it. Now, this is the movement side of the discussion, and there's some really interesting pieces here. So it's going to be fast. The movement is rapid, it seems. You can slide cancel, you can reload cancel, you can mantle while sprinting, fire immediately after sliding, ADS while sliding with a potential gear and perk option. There might be gentleman's agreement in. We'll discuss that a little bit later today. Increased attack sprint durations, which is interesting as well, because I'm saying that I don't want the movement to be that fast. I want the movement to be fluid, but I don't want people to be like absolutely bombing it across the map, because then the maps are less likely to play as they did originally. Now, yes, back then you had Marathon, you had Lightweight and stuff like this that players would use, but I guess we'll see how it goes. Increased strafe speed and ADS movement, so, you know, I like things that make it easier to actually shoot and move at the same time. That's a positive as far as I'm concerned. Tac sprint recharge as well, regular sprinting, and also slide cancelling will not reset your tac sprint, so I think that's a positive change as well. Few good things we're getting here, and with slide cancelling back, it's strange in a way that when last year's game came out, there was no slide cancelling. People are like, oh yeah, let's go, slide cancelling's finally gone. But now people are like, oh yeah, let's bring it back, baby. And I'm kind of down for it, to be fair. I don't mind slide cancelling, never really did. Cold War slide cancel was kind of in a good spot as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, Shotzzy might be happy about it, but other players are going to be happy about it as well. Shotzzy does though quote tweet this and say, yeah, like this sounds right up my street, and I can't blame him. We know that a lot of the things the FaZe guys have been happy about, some of these movement mechanics are going to be exploitable, and I'm sure day one of the beta and certainly day one of the regular get a game. We are going to get Shotzzy and the likes of Cellium doing some interesting things. Hopefully there's no snaking in the game. I'm sure the pros at the playtest tried it to see if there is. And there probably is, but, you know, snaking seemingly is in every title, let's be honest. So they even come out with some special graphics like this, showing classic minimap with red dots. I find it so hilarious. If you're an Infinity Ward developer and you're seeing this as like the main marketing tool that people are getting hyped about, you're thinking, damn, am I the problem, or is it the fans that are the problem? And they're probably going to think, oh yeah, you know, the fans, the audience are the problem. They just don't understand our vision. This was another big one, though, that I'm really looking forward to, is the reduction in headshot multipliers. Again, they're bringing it back to the old days where they used to get this right. Headshot multipliers have always massively annoyed me in COD, especially when they're like, even Ghost was like 1.5 times headshot multi or something, whereas Treyarch back then would do like 1.1x. And what that meant was, especially even games like Black Ops 3 suffer from this a little bit, with high caliber being an unfortunate attachment the Treyarch decided to put in. But sometimes you'll be shooting some guy and he just gets flinched up to your head, pure luck, hits you in the head and you just die instantly. And it happens a lot in the recent CODs as well, with the Vaznev and you know, all the recent guns just kill so fast if you get a headshot in the mix. Now, and barely any of that is skill. It can be skill if you aim for it, but I think Parasite made the point on the flank yesterday that, let's say the Krig in Black Ops 4, I think it was 2 headshots, 2 body shots you had to hit, but you had to, if you wanted to kill in 4 bullets, you basically had to aim for the head. And if you did hit them a couple of times in the head, then you would kill them faster. And there was actually some skill involved there, rather than just one lucky headshot because you get flinched up there that kills him faster. So it seems like they're going to reduce that. Base MP health increase, lower headshot multis, long time to kill. Like, this is just such a W as far as I'm concerned. Now, the other piece of the story here is on this tac stance. They say refining combat. This looks exactly like, what do they call it? The canted laser or something in the current games. So I think they actually described this in an article, or this tweet kind of pointed out. The operator unshoulders the weapon and holds it in a canted firing position. So it's kind of on its side. It's between ADS, when you move slow, but you're 100% accurate, and hip fire, where you move as fast as possible, but you have a little bit less control. It's kind of in between the two of them, and I think you can do this with this canted laser or something in the current game. You can toggle it in and out of tac stance, as they call it, dynamically while ADSing. There is some spread to your firing, but it's a middle ground between the two. It's designed to be used in aggressive close quarter combat situations. By default, you fire in tac stance while sliding, and I guess if you have the special perk or whatever, then you can maybe ADS while sliding in addition. But a new movement mechanic here that can be used while, as they say, close quarter combat. You can move quite quickly with this and fire like, not like your hip firing, but a bit more accurate. Could be really interesting to see how players exploit this, how players use this, and you've got to especially think players like Shotzzy and the like are going to be really all over this type of stuff when the game launches. So I don't mind that, right? I'm happy the developers try some new things. Like, you don't want the game to be copy and paste every year, but it's just these changes they're bringing back. Most of the things that are good about this game are things that we had basically a decade ago, and now they're bringing them back in and everyone's kind of celebrating. But, you know, there is some reason to be happy about this, right? It seems like they might have finally understood that all they've got to do is get the basics right, and they're going to make a much better title than we've seen for the last several years. So hopefully that's the case. We did also see some reaction from the players that went to playtest this. Like, it was confirmed that we were on the money, right, about where Clay was a few days ago out there in San Francisco. And actually Daniel Sy from the league was there as well, who got invited to play. Yes, I got destroyed by our pros. Yes, I peaked with a 4-3, not too bad, but he enjoyed playing, right? And I think there was even some comment from this. So these were some of the players that went for sure. JurNii Thieves tweeted, Ghosty tweeted, Envoy tweeted, Clay tweeted. A little bit interesting, just because you might think that the players they're likely to invite are ones that are actually going to be pros next year, and this maybe you'd think, okay, Ghosty and JurNii Thieves, they're not confirmed to a team yet, but we think they're going to both be joining the Los Angeles Thieves. aBeZy was also there though, and aBeZy hasn't really been linked to any team yet, so I'm not sure you can read too much into that. But yes, hopefully aBeZy does get a spot. But as he says, he was out there playing also. We got this from Claire that was quite nice. All I'm saying is we won 2 games with the GM of the CDLR team versus all pros. Some of these new kids can't hang with the old heads, right? So nice from Clay. And I think Clay would be really good, I think, at this game, especially at the start. Clay's one of those guys, like, he will know all the ratty angles. He'll know all the spots, like, day one of the game. So, and obviously Clay's seemingly very keen to keep it going onto the new season. So yeah, that's pretty much all the updates that we presently have. Just wanted to quickly mention that MW2 tourney with a few teams. I think like Shotzzy, Vikul, Cell, and Blaz are playing as a team of 4. 4v4 S&D tourney, Warzone, CDL Pro, creator type stuff. It's going on tonight. I believe these are the relevant times. Very much interested to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.